is majorly quantitative data collection method. In Module 1, we have discussed here data collection as a process. We've looked at data sources. We've looked at different types of data sources, primary data source, secondary data source, and we developed a data collection plan. So now this is one way of implementing our data collection plan, which is going to the field, administering our questionnaires, which we are going to do as a simulation exercise for this module 4B. By the end of this module 4B, you should be able to identify different ways of administering questionnaires, understand the principles of designing a questionnaire, and design a survey as a quantitative data collection instrument. Think about yourself, your daily lives. People might have sent surveys, questionnaires to you to help to complete and all that. So that's what we're saying. So you will not be on that side of the person administering the questionnaire. So let's get into things. In this video, I will show to us, yes, different types of questionnaire or surveys. So finding existing instruments, principles of designing a questionnaire, and I will land on designing a questionnaire, and we're going to design one together. And as part of the task for this module will be for you to design the questionnaire and administer the questionnaire with 20 people. Might be people in your organization, might be your friends, but what's most important is you're able to administer it. And in that demonstration that I'm going to do, I will be using the Google form to create a questionnaire, and I'll show us how to do that as we continue. So let's get into things. Yes, you've heard of surveys several times. It could be self-administered and it could be administered in other ways. So there are other instruments that you can use to administer it. The self-administered one are people that come to you and just tick the box, right? So you can think about the sensors, think about household surveys. They are self-administered, and yourself talking to your program, to your beneficiaries, right? The women beneficiaries, the young people in your program. When you go to them and tell them to tell you, oh, hey, or to what extent this has happened, they tell you, oh, so you tick, you tick, you tick. That's what we refer to as self-administered. The other side of things is, oh, somebody just shared a survey with you online, which is common at these times, and you submit it. That's an order administered survey. Or the one on you via your mobile phone that you're asked to, oh, press 1 if you agree, press 2 if you disagree. So that's administered in other ways. So surveys, which and I forgot to state that surveys are a major quantitative data collection method, and it's actually the most important one. We have discussed and think about it that actually the existing surveys all around, in literatures, online, on government institutions that handles surveys, on journal websites. You will see on research documents, they are attached as annexes, right? So you could use existing surveys and administer it as a questionnaire. So it's not necessary that you always need to think about developing your own. Yeah, there's so many household surveys that are standardized already, that is used across countries. So you don't need to develop new surveys again. So let's get into designing surveys, things you need to consider and understand. And we've put it in 7 different parts of it, and I will say these are very, very critical and important in you designing surveys. We've seen good, bad, fair surveys all around, but you should get out of this training as someone that understands how to at least have that understanding. The first thing to consider is your information and instructions, or to know is that yes, you need to provide information and instructions, and that's what makes people respond to your survey, right? Some people will just share a link and just say, oh, complete. And you see question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 without a proper introduction which outlines that, oh, this survey is meant to do X, Y, and Z, and also tell them that, oh, in response to this survey, you will be contributing to X, Y, and Z and some knowledge. So also talk about, yes, your information will not be revealed and all that. So assuring your respondents that, yes, they will not be mentioned, but that all responses will be aggregated. It's very important. Also put in dates that you need people to complete it, that you will close the survey. It's these are very key, important things, especially the introductory part of things. You need to let people know why you designed that survey, what the respondents, what his responses will be used for. Very important. The second thing is now putting together your questions. So what exactly are in questions and how are they arranged in terms of content? Normally, surveys start with questions like, yes, your name, not your name, your full name, your surname, your age, your gender. So that is what we refer to as social demographic information. Very important, especially when you will be comparing groups, right? Which we will do in I think next week. Yes, week 3. When you'll be comparing groups, these are very, very important social demographic information that asks for that. Then the next thing that follows are questions around opinions, attitudes. Then you think about, yes, what are questions about change in behavior? So to what extent has X allowed you to change? To what extent would you agree that, oh, X, Y, or Z has made this to happen? So these are the various things you need to actually consider in your survey. 3 key parts are important in your survey. First is the social demographic. Then think about the opinions, questions that are related to opinions and attitudes. Then questions that are related to behavior. Very, very key and important. The 3 type of questions, yes, I mean the 3. Number 3 is the type of questions you answer, right, in your questionnaire that you put to your respondents. It's either is close-ended or is open-ended question. Close-ended close-ended is the one that makes respondents pick some particular questions, options rather. While open-ended is just, it allows your respondents to, give qualitative assessments and all. So when you ask, oh, can you give a remark about the workshop, that's open-ended. But when you now say that, oh, can you rate the extent at which this workshop has changed your perception about women, and you now give them option, then that's a closed-ended question. So you've closed your respondents, like they can only take these options or pick these options. That's what it means. Um, some examples of open-ended question is this: what was your experience with? I mean, you just want the person to respond. But when it's closed, you have these options. Some things to take a look at would be nice for you to avoid 5 points kind of question. So, for instance, this, and you put, um, please describe your feeling at the end of paragraph workshop, right? In this, if you put neutral, for example, so many people tend to pick neutral. So stick to a 4 points Likert scale, and that would just be it. You could have closed questions that are like this as well. Let's go to some other ones. These are also examples of closed questions that you can rank, closed questions, ranking kind of questions. These are checklist kind of questions. You could have partially closed questions, but I mean, we'll take a look at all those. So fourth point in formulating your questions, I mean, avoid questions that are, oh, wouldn't you say that our program has changed your knowledge about people living with disabilities? No, you shouldn't say that. You can recoin such kind of word, like to what extent has our program caused a change on your perception about people living with disabilities. Then you now give options, or to a large extent, to a considerable extent, to a limited extent, or not at all. So just avoid leading questions. Be specific and precise. And in specificity means that instead of you using, oh, how often do you drive from A to B, or how often do you use our training manual or the toolkit that has been designed, how often would you say you have used it? Instead of that, you can change the question and say, oh, in the last 3 months, how many times have you used a training manual? How many times do you think you've used a training manual in the last 3 months? That's an alternative question which is specific and precise as well. So those are things to consider. Yes, use short and simple sentences. When questions are too long, people tend not to understand or avoid them, or just close up on your questionnaire and not go ahead to answer it. Avoid jargons, yes, because I mean, you need your respondents to answer those questions. So you need to make it sound in a language which they understand. That's what it means. Avoid asking 2 questions in one. So for example, are you satisfied and happy with your participation in this program? So those are 2 questions, being happy and being satisfied. So it has to be just one question. Also, try as much as possible to minimize socially desirable questions. So to avoid social bias questions. So I mean, things like punctuality, for example, how punctual are you? Everybody wants to pick yes, they are punctual, right? So you need to avoid that and be much more specific and find another way to coin it. So for example, in the last 10 months, how many times would you say you got to the office between 7 to 9? That's a way to reframe such kind of question. Yes, also when using embarrassing questions, you need to be very, very careful. There's a reason why we develop questionnaires. We don't just develop them or surveys anyways. I will show us in a bit that. Then think about the structure of your question. Yeah, important questions should be at the beginning. And don't start with embarrassing questions. I mean, you start with your first name, your last name, your age, um, the group that you belong into, and all that. So also find a way not to have hard questions at the beginning. So let it be easy. You can mix it, yes, at times, and that works a whole lot. Um, the layout is very important as well. In your classroom, actually, there we have provided examples of questions, great questions, great surveys that you can use. Take a look at. I think those will be useful for you as well. Um, that's it's important to note that yes, with those you can have self-administered survey, which is the one you administer yourself. The other kind of surveys are the ones you do on telephone. So via the telephone, you could have a classroom survey where at the end of a training, you quickly administer it, right? That's a classroom survey or a knowledge assessment as well. So, yeah, I mean, this might not be common in this part of the world where you have poster survey where surveys are posted in mails. Then you have online survey, which is what we're going to develop in a bit. And now for our learning task to create a questionnaire. So, and I mean, we see a whole lot of this at this time now. So that's just a wrap on survey designs. It's important to note that yes, there are closed-ended questions and they're open-ended. You see open-ended always at the last part of the question or of the questionnaire, right? Great things to think about when putting together your questionnaire. So, but let's go practical now. So this is your learning task. You're supposed to design a questionnaire which can be used online and also offline. So you're online, you download it, make it available offline, then you now upload in. So let's look at the question for week 2, right? For this particular module 4B, which is quantitative data collection, let's view the assignment. You're supposed to design and develop a questionnaire to collect information relevant to measuring change in your chosen case study. Remember that you've picked the case study you picked, which you also worked on in module 4A, is also the same thing you now want to design a questionnaire for, because we are now getting practical to implement our data collection plan. After you've designed it, you should administer it to 20 respondents. So think about your colleagues in your office or your friends. They can actually respond to it. You're supposed to share the form, the questionnaire actually, that you develop with training@clonehouse.com. I'm going to show us how to do that now, because I'm also going to work on this case study as well. And the offline part, you're supposed to come and add and upload, then you submit. So let's go back to the way you start at first. So like I said, you don't just create questionnaires. Let's first go to our plan. If you remember this in module 4A, we completed this, right? So we have a plan that actually guides us in developing a questionnaire, because this allows us to know the data we are collecting that would be telling us how much of change and how much of change we are creating, and change is in terms of our results, right? So the questionnaire needs to tell us, oh, we are improving livelihoods, or more exploited women are becoming aware of sexual abuse, reporting mechanisms, and all that. So you need to come here and take a look at, oh, what will my questionnaire answer? That should be the question on your mind. So we already said 10 questions, right? So that you don't have something that is long. So I'm going to focus on, like I said it in the last module, you can actually have an instrument. So we have this instrument, right? But this is for a project focused on school, girls, right? I'm going to focus on this. Yes, this questionnaire, to answer this in my questionnaire. And yeah, maybe I restrict it to these two, right? These two questions. You can actually add this because change in women, number of women in your program that started businesses. Yes, you can also add this as well if you want. But let's see where we can go with this. So note that my indicator has groups. So it didn't just say women, change in knowledge of women on social abuse, right? He said change in knowledge of exploited women. That means in my group might be women, but I have those that are sexually exploited, those that are trafficked, those that are just married, and all that. So I need to factor that in because it means I want to do comparison even amongst groups. That's what it means. Also for this as well. So let us go to first, we're using our Google form, right? Because it's stated here so this is a tool to create questionnaire, and we're going to do that together in a bit by going to your Google. So this is my own Google. I've showed us this before. This button, whether you have opened an email, just look to your far right, you see this button and click on it. Then you will see several tools. Google is free, but maybe we don't make use of. So this drive is a popular, just click on it. So we're creating an online survey, that's what it means. Then click on your folder. In there, go to more, then you see Google Forms. So click on it again, and voila, you have your form all ready to get things started. So I would title this improved livelihood end of program survey. Don't forget that we already said we collect this before program commences and at the end. So I'm assuming, so I mean we can do two questionnaires. So you should have done one before the program started. So this is now the end one so that we can make comparisons, right? Improve livelihood end of program survey. Don't forget, we said it's important for you to introduce your questionnaire. Oh, thank you very much for participating in this survey. This is to understand how our program has contributed to change in your work or life or so. Your responses will allow us to initiate better ways. So, I mean, just think about good wordings and all that, and let me see if I can show us something like that. This is an assessment that I did. Okay, it's closed already, so it's fine. Wanted to show us, but I mean, you have several examples in the classroom on how to do this. Your response will be confidential and it will be aggregated. So I mean, you just need to then give a time, please help to complete by so date, right? In your own answer to this task submission, please write a whole lot of this out. This is the same thing you also put in emails, right? If you're sending an email for somebody to complete a questionnaire, right? So let's start with things. I like doing this. Please tell us your first name, right? So then we can go duplicate. Yeah, we can duplicate. So what Google Form does for you, so there are different types of questions, right? Multiple choice, checkbox, paragraph, those that are related to date and time. So Google Form automatically understands what you're trying to ask and give you. So look at this button, make it required if it's compulsory, if it's going to be compulsory. Many of you completed this kind of form before starting this program. So this is how it's being built actually. If you want a short description, put it just to guide the person. So insert your own name, something like that. Then I can duplicate. Please tell us your surname. Yes, we use surname a lot in this part of the world. If you want to add question instead of duplicating, you can come here and so I mean, if my program has different mix of people, male and female, then I'll put gender, right? Like yes, but in this case, I'm assuming that our program has focused on women and all that, so I'm not necessarily a mix, right? What age range do you belong to, right? So I'm making it like it's a conversation. 15 to 25. So you have 20. Oops. Wait. What just happened? Okay, let's go again. 15 to 25. 26 to 35. 36 to 45. I'll change this to 16 in order for me to get a balanced. Yes, it has to be balanced. So 46 to 55, then I could say above 55. If you want to, so I mean, this is a multiple choice. So in Google Form, multiple choice means you can only pick one question. I want this to be required. If you want to delete this, you can click on delete here. If you want to duplicate just the same kind of question, you can do that in here. So I want to quickly get into things. Let's see what other question can we ask. Let's go to the group kind of question. So I will say, what category of women would you say you belong to? So I mean, if you have different groups, so for example, a program for young people, those that are staying in urban, those that are staying in rural, those that are staying in suburban, you can use this, especially if your indicator have stated things like group. So you need to consider that in coining your question. So, and that's what I want to do right now in terms of the category of women that are in our program. So don't forget, this is just for illustration. I've been sexually abused. You can also say that, yeah, I have been involved in irregular migration, right? I have been exploited by the opposite sex, right? So you can think about that. I'm going to stop there and make sure I delete all this. Um, Adding other might mean that, oh, maybe you expect that there will be other groups, right? But if not, and you know all your participants or your pro, then you do not need to put that there again. So also in the kind of categories when you say, okay, in terms of higher education now, like what's the level, what's the highest level of education, and you put secondary school, primary school, tertiary institution, or you say undergraduate, postgraduate, and all that. So that's also categorizing. So we are finished with social demographics, right? Let's move to something of opinion, right? Um, so there are questions there, so we don't just ask questions. We want to ask questions that are related to either of these. That's what this means. So participation in the program. So let's assume that in terms of understanding the dangers of irregular migration, right? So exploited women. So this talks about their understanding of dangers of irregular migration. So I can say, to what extent would you say your participation in the program has made you understand dangers of irregular migration? Yeah. So I'll go to my question. Note that I'm not using a yes or no question. What extent would you say your participation in the program has made you understand the dangers of irregular migration, right? I'm not using linear scale. I would rather use the multiple choice and say to a great extent or to a large extent. It has made me understand dangers of irregular migration, right? To a considerable extent. So let's say all dangers. It has made me understand some of the dangers related with irregular migration, right? To a little extent, or to a limited extent, rather. So I mean, it's good to let people know what this means. So not change. So, right? So we have that as one that can answer these, right? So let's go to the change in knowledge, right? We're using change because yes, before program and after program. So that could be a simple kind of question. So I still use my multiple choice and I would say, how would you rate your knowledge on sexual abuse reporting mechanisms? So note that the assumption is that yes, women do not have knowledge about these reporting mechanisms. So at this end line, we just want to measure the change. They might have chosen something as some other things at the beginning, but now let's see if some things have changed. So we could say excellent. Yeah, I mean, because this is more, I mean, people know this a whole lot. Good, fair, then poor. Put it at that. And I'm using this kind of rating because people are familiar with this, right? So I'm going to limit this to so how many questions do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are all open-ended, no, close-ended questions, right? Let me now add one. Yeah, I need to make this required so people don't jump. So be careful so that because you're going to administer this questionnaire with your case study, that's what we're saying to 20 people. So let's use the last kind of question, which is the open-ended question. Could you please tell us how you think we can improve what's the name of the program? Okay, livelihood. So it comes as, and you do not necessarily need to make it required, because I mean you want people to. One other question, I mean, if you can think about this outcome level kind of question, changing the number of women in your program that started businesses. One other question you could ask with that is, so in the last 1 year, um, how many businesses have you started? So starting business might be maybe registered, right? How many have you registered in the last 1 year? So don't forget we're talking about change in here, and let me see if I can just quickly add that. Um, oops, I have two already. Let me delete one. Delete this. It has to be, let there be a mix. Maybe we'll put it, no. So maybe we'll put it here. Now the question, in the last 1 year, can you guess how many businesses you've started or initiated, whichever one? So, right, and I'll make this also a multiple choice, and we can say 1 to 5. So between 1 to 5, 6 to 10, between 11 to 15, and also not to forget, yes, there could be 0. So which means you have started nothing at all, and I put this here, right? Say more than 15. So what we mean by having asked the same question at baseline will be this same type of question you would have asked this also at the beginning of the before the program begins with the group in your program. Same questionnaire as well. So you can then measure change. So for example, if you have 20 women in your group, and before the beginning, all of them picked 0, 0, 0, but you expected that, oh, this will mean change, right? In terms of improving livelihood. So you're expecting maybe 1 to 5, 6 to 10. You can now compare in terms of points difference as well. And I mean, you could also not put it in range. You could just say maybe 0, 1, 2, if you expect that, oh, we don't need you to have a whole lot of. So we have completed our questionnaire already. Let me do this and make sure that I'm not forgetting anything. So it automatically saves in your drive anyways. But so you can preview using this button just to make sure that everything is fine and required, except for, so I can see that this is not required, so I need to go back to the form. So this is how it will look like. Anyways, so let me close it, and yes, let's do this. Let's make it required. Boom. So it's now required. So if you want to send it, just click on send by the right. If you need a link, so you can see, you can actually, if you have email addresses, you can send it to. So you're supposed to share this form with training. That's what's in the task. training@loanshouse.com, and you send blam. So training@loanshouse.com must see that. If you want to just grab the link to it and share, you see this is the link. You can shorten it and it becomes this, and you can copy it and start sharing everywhere. So I've copied it, and let me see, for example, so it's opening here already, right? What else do we need to do? We've sent to training@loanshouse.com. You can share on Twitter, if it's something that you want to do, so, but not, maybe not necessarily. So here you can still ask for phone, you can ask for your address, location, and all that. If you're using a stratified sampling kind of a thing, you want to think about, okay, let's look at regions, right? Which region are you from, or did you come from, or do you want to affiliate yourself with? So you can do that. So we've done how to send this as an email. We've done how to share the link. So let's see how we can print this and make it an offline document. Go. Just click on these three buttons and click on print, because we are supposed to upload it, right? Good. So when you print, so this is how it's supposed to look like, assuming you're printing and going to the field. This is what you will get. So I will change this, no printer, save as PDF. So on your laptop, make sure you can save as PDF. Save it as PDF. So it's going as PDF, and I will just save it. So saving to my desktop. So it's already on my desktop. Now we'll go to the task, right? Where is the task opened? Yes, so this is the task. I will add. So that's the second thing. Add. Oh, it's the last thing. Okay, don't worry. Let me just first upload it. Let's just first upload it as a PDF. This is it. Bam. Then here we go. So it's going to upload as a PDF, and I will turn it in, right? Good. Turn it. So I just turned that in. I did not answer one question where it says administer the questionnaire to 20 respondents. So what we mean is that, although I've already done it, you have a link already, you can grab the link. Two ways: you can send this to 20 people in your organization to complete. Just could be by email, then there's the comma. Uh, so I mean, you can think about doing that and adding commas to emails. I think I've already done that for training. It's either you do it that way, 20 people, or you grab this link and copy it and send to them as email. So you just need 20. So not less than 20. So you can send it to lots of people thinking, yes, I mean, you'll get 20 back. And that's how we do it actually in real life. If you are looking for 20, you don't send to 20. You can send to 30 people in expectation that 20 will respond. So that's how it works. So that's the learning task we are supposed to complete for this. I hope this has been useful for us. Um, what it means is that it's just online. Yes, let people respond. Don't worry, we will come back to this in the next modules and come and see what the response uh, looks like. Myself, I'm going to administer my own also to 20 people because this still continues till we do the analysis and do the findings as well. So I hope this has been very useful for us. Don't forget to put your comments in the comment box, your questions, your suggestions, so that we can get a conversation started. So what you've just done is design your questionnaire, and you're going to be administering it to 20 people, and we'll look out for responses and show us how we will get responses in the next few modules. Thank you so much for going through the video. Let me just wish you all the best for now in your learning task. See you in module 4C. Bye.